Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome all of you back to another video on my YouTube channel and what is going to be the return and the start of Season 3 of The 5 Lists. I haven't done one of these in quite some time. Season 2 ended sometime last year, I forgot exactly when, and I'm not fully set up to start Season 3 just yet, but I do have a couple of lists I came up with, to start and do some videos on. So I'm going to record the first one tonight and go from there. And it's going to be a wrestling topic, which is one of the main topics I almost always talk about, which is usually wrestling, video games, and anime and whatnot. But yeah, today's going to be a wrestling video game topic because it's going to be dealing with the WWE 2K series. And later on this year, WWE 2K22 is coming out, the next main entry. They took a year off last year to do the Battleground side arcade style game, and that was all fine and dandy. But after 2K22 and how much of a big mess that was, they took 1 year off because of that, and probably because of COVID, and yada yada yada. And now we're getting 2K22 at the end of this year. We've seen a trailer during WrestleMania. It looks interesting, but it also kind of looks almost like it could be more of the same. And this list I'm going to be presenting to all of you here today to start off Season 3 of the 5 lists is going to be the 5 things that 2K needs to do with W2K22. 5 things they need to bring back, 5 things they need to include, 5 things they need to essentially add to the game or whatever the heck else, bring back whatever. Some of them are going to be modes, some of them are going to be like just the idea of a game idea for itself. So it's a mixed list, but it's like I kind of wanted to talk about this in general, so I threw all these ideas into one big giant list, even though some of them are modes to bring back and some of them are things I just want to see them do with the game as a longtime fan of wrestling games and WWE games and yada yada yada. And this is also a list that I think a lot of fans that play wrestling games, a lot of fans that play the WWE games or WWE 2K games would probably agree with me on, because a lot of it stems from stuff that I see repeated over and over and over again for what they want to see in these games. And without further ado, let's get started with the 5 things that 2K need to do with WWE 2K22. 1, and this is the thing almost everyone talks about, so I'm just going to start off with it and get right out of the way. 1, bring back GM mode, please. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, GM mode's not, universe mode's pretty much like GM mode and it has more options and yada yada yada. But GM mode was always like its own fun little thing from SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 through 2008. That was like the mode to play in those games. I didn't really care so much about for the story mode after I played it once or twice. But GM mode I played over and over and over again. Especially in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, I played like 5 years a season, 5 years of GM mode. Back to back to back, 6 years, like 5 or 6 years, just because it was so fun and I controlled all the shows. I just hooked up all my PS2 controllers and just controlled all the shows. I did the same thing in 07, I did the same thing in 08. It was so fun coming up with your own little storylines, your own little shows, building your own roster. It was so much fun. And Universe Mode is its own thing. Universe Mode isn't even close to GM Mode. I know Universe Mode offers more creative mode to it, like you can customize the show, you can customize the rosters, you can create your own belts, use your own creative arenas, all this other stuff, and technically create a little more in-depth storylines. But what I liked about GM mode is it was kind of like that outside of all the super creative elements. And it was kind of like managing contracts, stuff like that's fun. I like the strategic stuff like that, like managing the contracts, keeping your wrestlers happy, doing certain things like that. In competition, you played as one brand, you compete with the other. I played as everything because I just liked controlling the whole narrative and creating the whole storyline for the whole WWE at that time for all 3 of those games. But I remember playing with my friends and family, and we would compete with each other to create better shows. And it was so much fun. It's a multiplayer mode too. You can compete with other people. And now with such a big online emphasis, maybe they can make a mode like that online too. And I was thinking what they could do, and this is like SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Like in 2008, they had like the career mode, but you could play through it as either A, a wrestler, or B, a GM. Do that with Universe mode. You can play this mode as either a universe, where you can create the whole universe and create all the stuff you want, and still have the same universe mode we've had since pretty much WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, all the way now through WWE 2K20. Or on the other side of the spectrum, you can create a GM mode. and it probably would be specifically just WWE. You can probably control the Raw and SmackDown brands, and this time, like in SmackDown 2008, we can control ECW, you can control NXT, and this. You can kind of maybe make it so there's like the OVW, FCW type talent, maybe like training that you can actually go out and get some training talent. They can probably include maybe in this game some of the people that are coming up in WWE and do stuff like that, including the draft and everything, and just integrate elements from Universe mode into GM mode, while also bringing back GM mode as it was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, 7, and 8. I think that would be kind of cool. A lot of fans want it back, I especially included, and I'd play it for sure, because Universe mode, there's various games I never even really played Universe mode on. I only really played it in like 2011, 12. I didn't really touch it too much in 13, didn't really touch it much in 14 and onward. I played even less. I played less Universe mode as the time went on. Then I played GM mode, where I played all 3 of those years constantly. Most of my hours in those games, outside of creating wrestlers and tag teams and whatever the heck else, was playing GM mode. And I think a lot of fans just want to see a mode like that back, because it seems like all these other companies are doing this stuff too. Like AEW has a phone game that's exclusively for that. Could the AEW game have a GM mode too? Like the main game? Maybe, I don't know, but they have a phone game for it. And then like you have Dickey, who's doing like the stuff on these little like indie computer games that are like GM type stuff. So there's obviously wrestling fans out there that love the idea of a GM mode, controlling the roster and managing stuff. And that could be the complete opposite of Universe mode. And for people who like Universe mode, we're not going to get rid of Universe mode. I think it should be an option like in SmackDown vs. 2008. You want to be the GM, or do you want to be the owner, like controlling the company kind of thing? So that would be kind of cool. The second thing I would like to see is I want to see them bring back the feature to create signs, or at least to include logos that you upload or logos that you create in like a logo editor or something, to create signs. Oops, sorry. Like back during like the PS3 360 era for these games, for like the SmackDown vs. Raw / WWE 2K games, you were able to use custom logos and make them as signs for your wrestlers. Since they've done PS4 and Xbox One, it's like you only can use either the generic signs in the games or the signs that the wrestlers have. You can't really change it up. And that might be a small feature. Not a lot of people might be really caring about something like that. Sorry. But I think it's kind of cool, and I would like to see it brought back. Just so you can have custom signs in the crowd, so it's not just like, marry me, I'm single, or yes, 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 CCC, bald is beautiful, this is extreme or hardcore, whatever, and USA, and what, or who are you, and all these generic signs are using generic wrestler signs too. I'd like to be able to have like that's one of the biggest things for professional wrestling, is how crazy the signs can get. And I know some fans are going to be doing some dirty bull crap and all this like really out there crap. I don't really care. It's your universe. It's your game. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want. And I'd like to have some signs that just specifically detail my created wrestlers or my created storyline. Or if I turn someone heel, it's or a face that they aren't normally a heel or a face, I can make a sign that's specifically towards them as a heel or a face. I want to be able to dictate the crowd. I want to be able to control how much control I have over a crowd, not just creating arenas and fixing what kind of seats they sit in or what kind of crowds in my created arenas. I would like to be able to have the ability to create and customize the signs. And that was on the PS3 360, and they took it away. 2K took it away. And then now we're just left with all these generic signs to give our created wrestlers. And it gets tiring after a while. And they've been doing that since like 2K15. So I would like them to really bring that back. 3, I want to see them bring back, create a storyline, create a story mode. Like, that last time we saw that was, what, 2K14? Like, right, like when 2K took the series over from Ukes and THQ and all that. Or Ukes was still working on it, but THQ specifically. They just canceled out like 2K15 onward. They didn't have create a story mode at all. I love to be able to create the cutscenes and create branching paths and making my own little storyline. Especially like when you're done playing like Road to WrestleMania or My Career or whatever the heck showcase mode is. You can then play your own story. You can create your own story, have your friends and family play your own story, and probably with the whole emphasis they now have on community creations, go online and upload your own storylines and download other people's storylines, and you have more story mode to play after you beat the main mode, after you played universe mode for X amount of hours, and like my career and the showcase and all that stuff. Once you're done playing all that, and like you're like, well, I'm bored, there's nothing really to play besides just continue universe mode or continue creating stuff or play online or whatever. Well, until the next game comes out, people will continuously on community creations upload their own storylines, their own story modes, and I think that's kind of cool, and I want to see them do that more. I want to see that back, especially because that would help me with my CKW stuff, because then I can actually have legit stuff without having to put it on my commentary or just having backstage attacks that take place in the same damn place. I would love to see create a storyline, and like for people out there that want to go and create their own stuff and whatever the hell storylines they want to make. That's fun. It was like one of the best parts from like SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 to like 2K14 was that. Besides like the earlier years of Universe mode and whatnot, and some of the showcases and some of the story mode, my career road to WrestleMania, whatever stuff. I want to see the return of the create a story mode, create a storyline, and I think a lot of people would too. Okay, so those three were specifically bringing back modes. These next two are going to be just what I want to see from these games, or see from this game and the series going forward, because this is definitely something that I think they really need to address. 4. They need to adjust the gameplay to be more fun and have more of those crazy elements that you used to see in the SmackDown games or the Day of Reckoning games, or SmackDown versus Raw or all like the No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 and stuff like that. It should still have some. It should still kind of be simulation based, but not all wrestling fans like simulation. I know for a fact because I talked to a coworker who thinks the games have gotten too damn convoluted. And it pushes fans away, especially back in the day. You just pick up a game and start playing it. But now in the WWE 2K games, they're way too complicated. They have all these little things that just make it kind of hard to get into. And I just get used to it because I just love playing the games. And I get used to most of the controls, at least. There's a few things that are convoluted and I don't really like. But overall, I got used to it. But that's not everyone. And I would like to see more people play these games. And it should be more easier to pick up and play, like the SmackDown vs. Raw games, where anyone can pick those up and probably play them. And they weren't super convoluted, super in-depth. I think the game should still have simulation-based elements, but they should kind of go back to some of the semi-arcade elements too, and add some of the craziness and stuff. Maybe not overdo it, and maybe make some of it optional, but it'd be cool just to go out to the SmackDown hotel and jump off a freaking roof doing a 450 off a 10-story building or something, or off the helicopter, or create wacky, weird wrestlers, which they kind of... The way 2K does it, I know that all the creating logos and everything, and I love how they've updated Create a Wrestler and the creation suite and all the other creation stuff, but it seems like you have a little bit more limits on some of the stuff you create too, so it's like I like to have the Create a Wrestler be a little bit more open. I just want the whole game to be more crazier and wackier, taking elements from the other games, being more fun and being more adaptable for newer gamers and people that are just getting into the series, so it's not super convoluted, but still having those simulation elements, which is what a lot of the older games were. Like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain felt fairly simulation based too, like the weight system and the stats and everything, but it still was super arcadey too. It was a nice balance, and that's what I want to see them do. I want to see them balance it out, and I don't want it to be this the same old after taking 2 years off after 2K20, coming back and having the same damn game. And that's about it with that. And number 5, the roster needs changing so bad. Like, I love that they keep including the same legends over and over and over again. I always would love to play as Austin and Rock and Foley and whoever the heck else, Steamboat and everything too. But the one thing and everyone's come to realize over like the last couple of years of the 2K series, the WWE 2K series, the roster has pretty much been rinse and repeat, copy and pasting into the next game. Like 2K20 pretty much had the same roster as 2K19, especially in the Legends department, except for adding all the new wrestlers and then taking away a couple of Legends, throwing in a few new Legends. And then 19 was like that for 18. 18 was like that for 17. 17 was like that for 16. 16 was like that kind of for 15. 14 was the last one, was like almost on its own. Like growing up and me playing all these wrestling games over the time, all the GameCube, PS2, Xbox, all the different franchises, the Day Reckoning, WrestleMania, SmackDown, Raw, all these different franchises, No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, the WCW games and everything else like that. From game to game to game, there were similarities to the roster, but it feels like they changed stuff up a lot more. Nowadays, it feels like it's just copy and paste. It's like you're almost playing the same exact game, which I guess goes with 2K because they just do yearly sports games like basketball and everything too. So it's like just a copy and paste kind of thing, and it gets boring. It's like when I was playing Shut Your Mouth, I'm like, oh cool, I'm looking forward to Hurricanes of Pain. When I played Hurricanes of Pain, it felt so different. All the models were different, all the characters were updated. There's a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of new characters. It didn't feel like it was just a copy and paste from Shut Your Mouth. And SmackDown Patrol was like that with Here Comes the Pain. But now it seems like lately, a lot of the characters are just rinse and repeats, and like W2K20 took away stuff, but then added only so few, and it was mostly all in the new current day main roster, but the Legends specifically, like it feels like it's just the same old game, and they just get these wrestlers under contract. Oh, you're going to be in the game for 2 or 3 years, and they just include them all the time. And I know it's like people have their favorites. People always want to play as maybe the Fabulous Freebirds or Ken Shamrock or Mick Foley, Steve Austin, Rock. It's always the same old copy and paste, same old Legends all the time. That's especially where it goes. And you see most of the changes in the current day roster. You don't see too many changes with like the Legends. And I just want to see 2K22 come out and be like giving us Legends we've never seen before in these games, like Umaga, or maybe like freaking like the Oddities, or Too Cool, which we got once in like W13, that was it. Like Too Cool, or Tantaka, or someone different, not just rinse repeat. Obviously we're gonna get Austin and Rock and Ric Flair and Mick Foley and probably Steamboat and Eddie Guerrero and the usuals, but give us some people we normally don't see, and stop playing the same damn wrestlers all the damn time. It's like, I want something fresh, I want something new, and I want them to kind of like try to make a different game every year, but still take elements from the previous one, but like improve it and change it. It's become very yearly when the game series we're talking about 2K, W2K kind of stemmed off of SmackDown Raw. Anyways, they always felt like a different game each year, like you were playing something new and fresh and different, and now it's the same thing over and over again, and that gets very tiring. So yeah, that's it for this list. Our first list back with Season 3 of the 5 lists. I want them to bring back GM mode, bring back creating a sign, using logos to create signs, something of that feature. Even if you're not creating a sign specifically, some way of using a custom logo on the crowd signs. Bring back create a story mode. Update the gameplay so it's not super, simulation, but not all going crazy. Like a balance of arcadey meets simulation. And 5, make the roster feel different. I don't want to feel like I'm playing 2K20 or 2K19 when I'm playing 2K22. Please, 2K. And that's it. Put in the comment section what you guys think. What do you guys want to see from the W2K22 and the series going forward? What you want to see those modes back? What modes do you want to see back? What other features do you want to see back? What changes do you want to see happen? Put in the comment section down below. We can discuss it there. My name is Sniper's Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. And I'll see you later in the next video. Bye, everyone.